Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to a video. This is the paid request. This time for a very nice guy, the movie reviewer next door. By the way, great job and keep doing your videos, man, your reviews. It's always cool when people do that because that's what YouTube's all about. But a very nice guy. I'm sorry it took so long to get to this, but I was able to finally get Tubi working, at least on this computer. And it's for a film called Merchant of Death, 1997 film starring Michael Pare. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Now, Merchant of Death, it stars Michael Pare. Now, I like Michael Pare as an actor. I do. Most people remember him from Streets of Fire. They would also remember him from maybe Eddie and the Cruisers, among other movies. I liked him in this film with Anthony Michael Hall called Into the Sun, which I actually thought was better than Steven Seagal's Into the Sun. And even that is actually one of the decent Seagal films in the direct-to-video era. But anyway, Michael Pare was in the film with Anthony Michael Hall for The Breakfast Club and Weird Science. And Into the Sun, I thought was pretty decent. And I've seen him in other stuff as well. I know a lot of times in recent years he's popped up in Uwe Boll films. Or as it's called, Ooey Bowl, Ooey. Merchant of Death seems like a film I should like. It's from New Image, which is a company that I do like quite a bit of their stuff. For example, this movie. This is not official. This case was given to me by, I want to say, it's Classic Rocker. I think I asked if he was still around, and then he messaged, and I think he had a different username. So if you're watching, man, I still have this. It's very nice. But yeah, New Image. And I like a lot of their films. They're kind of like PM Entertainment. You know, they kind of competing back and forth. The reason I keep hesitating and pausing is like, well, why are you getting to the point? Well, it's like 2.5 minutes in, 3 minutes in. Because this seems like a film I should like, but I did not end up liking this at all. In fact, I thought this sucked ass to the holes. For a number of reasons. It's one of those films where the action's either at the very beginning or the very ending. So the middle portion, you have a slow slog of a chore to sit through. Michael Pare plays a guy who, when he was a kid, his family was killed in front of him. Bad guys let him live. He grows up to be a cop. An action scene happens. Of course, you have the typical, you're a hothead, and you're a renegade cop, and you're on suspension, and you're on a psychiatric evaluation. And the psychiatric lady's gonna be a hot, beautiful lady. I'm just surprised they didn't have, sex. They probably did it after the film. At least the characters. And it's a very boring, typical investigation mixed in with a Lifetime channel wannabe hypnosis about your past. And Michael Pare tried, oh, daddy, please, oh no, my daddy was a good football thrower. Until you get to the finale where the lady gets kidnapped, he goes in, shoots some bad guys, there's some fire, movie ends. Girl is saved, bad guy's dead. Boom. And I like action films. I am a sucker for action films. Action is my favorite genre. From this film, Deadly Outbreak, and The Perfect Weapon, and I even like Land of the Free with William Shatner and Jeff Speakman. I think that's an underrated film. Dolph Lundgren films, Command Performance, I Come in Peace, The Defender, I think is fun. Skin Trade, The Russian Specialist, Van Damme, Six Bullets, Weight of Death, The Order, Jeff Wincott, films like Last Man Standing and Mission of Justice, Gary Daniels, films like Riot, which is my favorite of his. Even Blood Moon was decent, pretty decent. So why do I not this film? Not only do you have a boring middle, But the opening and ending action, the ending action scenes and opening, they steal action from other movies. This new image, like some companies, had a bad tendency of doing this back in the day, where they would take footage from other films, and you weren't supposed to notice, and they plug this and this and this in, and they reuse them. They recycle them. Oh, this is our company, and our company made that film a year ago, or 2 years ago, or 3 years ago. We'll take that footage of that because we own it, and make it seem more explosive, even though you didn't make it for this film. You did it for 3 films ago. Now, granted, there are films I liked that have done that. I mean, hell, this film, there's maybe 2 or 3 shots. I think one might be from a Dolph Lundgren film called Sweepers, or maybe 1 or 2 others. But when you watch something like this, you see a lot of it done for the film. Because you had a stunt guy, Rick Avery, who knew what he was doing. You got a lot of Jess Speakman kicking ass, shooting people in the balls. Just forgot your bulletproof cup. You see Jeff in front of this damn bulldozer shooting at it, jumping, explosions, jumping on buses. You could tell they did a lot of stuff for this film. So if there's 1 or 2 or 3, I'll forgive it. I don't like it, but I'll forgive it. This, though, so many times I kept thinking, that looks familiar, that looks familiar. Holy shit. If I recognize this and this and this being from another film, then what the fuck else is from the other film? And now I'm more thinking of what film is that stolen from than, oh, I'm going to enjoy the action. I'm like, yeah, I'll just watch those action movies where this took it from. For example, when his family is killed at the beginning and the dad falls, I think that's from, as well as a couple scenes, from this film called Free Fall with Eric Roberts and Jeff Fahey. I think near the end of that film and someone's fallen, and they use the scene here. And like before going, a lot of films did this, some even worse than others. Like Treat Williams, he's in a film that they literally stole stuff from Last Action Hero, as in literally took the footage and dressed Treat Williams in the red shirt and the Jack Slater outfit and the car, and then they plug in Treat Williams, and then they show Last Action Hero, and then they show Treat up close. That might be the same movie that stole footage from Cliffhanger with the plane crashing. There was another one, I think it was Dean Cain's Militia, that they stole footage from Terminator 2. I say stole, but they paid for it. I don't know how that worked. That'd be an interesting conversation of how much did that cost. Like, how much did it cost to buy Terminator 2 footage? Like, here, I'm sure it's, well, we own the footage, new image, so... Like, there's stuff from Cyborg Cop 3, because the same director of Cyborg Cop 3 did this. There's shots from, I said, Free Fall. There's a film called Never Say Die, where Frank Zagarino from Project Shadow Chaser films. They use footage from that movie in this. There's a shot, because I'm thinking, this seems weird. Like, this stuff seems familiar, and it seems like the editing is wonky in these action scenes. Like, the action and editing, it's like Mark Burry's doing this, but then here's a guy here, and then it's not getting a handle on the geography, and the cutting is a bit weird and off. That's the best way to put it. And I'm like, why? Oh, because it was a cut and paste job. It's literally cut it from that movie, paste it here. Mark Burry shoots something. Shoot over here. Shoot over here. Then we paste this other movie and see for another movie in there. So that's why it doesn't quite... The puzzle pieces don't fit. And again, I was a bit confused. And then I saw a scene from this movie. Now, hell, maybe that was one of the few shots that was from another movie. But I know this did it first, where it was a guy being thrown from fireball against barrels. And this was near like the third act of the film. And then I'm like, well, wait a minute. And that's why I looked at a little bit more with research. And you don't even have to look far. Just look at the trailers for Cyborg Cop 3. And I think that there's a car chase in this film that's completely taken from Cyborg Cop 3. There's a bit where the psychiatrist lady is kidnapped and the bad guys come in to shoot up the place, and there's a decent shot where the camera zooms in, like kind of zooms in as a guy gets shot and thrown back. That's from Cyborg Cop 3. Hell, it's in the trailer for Cyborg Cop 3, which came out before this film. I didn't watch the trailer for Free Fall with Jeff Fahey and Eric Roberts. Never Say Die, because there's a bit early on, after the beginning with the kid, he's growing up, Michael Pare, you have this action scene happening. There's a bit where he throws a guy out a window and he falls and you have an explosion. That's from Never Say Die. Like, the same scene is in the trailer, and that was 1994. Well, this film's 97, so... There's a bit where Michael Pra's with his partner who's hurt. And again, you know someone's up with the editing. Because the guy's been shot, he's ready to die. But Michael Pare has his arms on him. So they jump, and they're together. Or so you think. Because there's a wide shot, and they're far apart, and they jump down. And then when it cuts to another shot where they're ready to hit the water, boom, they're back together again. So imagine, I'm carrying you. Then when we're the high fall, and then cut. Oh, now we're together. That's because that scene is from another film. Again, Free Fall. I think they actually stole some action scenes from Hard Justice as well, for David Bradley. I believe so. Might have been in the third act, which is a pretty good David Bradley film. Kind of low budget, but I mean, it's a very quick, fast... That's the thing, like Hard Justice, and Deadly Outbreak, and at least a lot of PM Entertainment films, Zero Tolerance for Robert Patrick. At least they were doing their own thing. Like I say, if they have one or two shots are taken, I'll forgive it. Because a lot of it they were doing... And if you can't do your own damn action, then what kind of an action movie are you? Because you're not watching this for the plot. You're not watching this for the story. You're not watching for the pathos. The villains are one-dimensional as a bit of a tall order to say. I can't tell you three things about the villains other than they have heavy accents. The supporting characters, Michael Pare has a buddy who helps him from time to time. Who I swear at first I thought was it Eric Christian's? The guy from the Thing prequel, the American guy. He was also in, I think he was on that TV show with Chris O'Donnell and LL Cool J, and he's like, what, Eric Christian? I can't remember his name. The guy who played Lloyd from Dumb and Dumber, the prequel. I thought it was him, but it wasn't, of course. This is 94. But with like longer hair, it kind of looked like him. The chief of police sounds like Foghorn Leghorn. Hey there, son, I don't know what you're doing here, but I say, son, I say, here, go down and go with that psychiatrist lady, or I'm gonna need your badge and your gun on my own. I mean, Jesus Christ. And like after, like I said, the opening with him as a kid, and it gets into immediately we're in an action scene, which isn't too bad, but at the same time, I don't know what's going on in this first action scene. Because I don't know who the people are on this pickup truck. I don't know who they're shooting at. Who are the people in the pickup truck? Who are the people getting shot at? Vice versa. Clunky editing, probably because it's taken from another film. I don't know where that's taken from. It might be Cyborg Cop 1. Could be Cyborg Cop 3 as well. Could be... I can't remember. I don't know. Because now I remember those films. I don't remember the Cyborg Cops. I remember Cyborg, but the Cyborg Cop, I didn't even know there were three of them. But you don't really get to understand the geography and who's who and who's a good guy, who's a bad guy. And then because of Michael Pare kind of just outside of the scene, smoking a cigar or relaxing. And then you have the scene with him driving a bulldozer, and I would bet money that's from another movie. With the bulldozer on fire. I would bet that's from another movie. I would bet money on it. So then I can't enjoy it because I can't appreciate that the technical aspects of the film, because I'm like, you don't deserve that. The person who did the film that you stole this from deserve it. I'm like, who's the good guys, who the bad guys? It just becomes a clusterfuck. And so when Michael Bray's talking about my men died, I'm like, who was your men? Was it the men in the pickup truck? Or was it the men up top that looked like bad guys but they were being shot? Who were your men? Because when Michael Bray's driving the bulldozer, he hits the truck. So I'm guessing those were the bad guys? But then the people at top are with the one bad guy. So which one are the cops? The truck that you smashed into, or the people up top that looked like they were with the bad guy? I don't know. That's why I was confused. They didn't explain anything. It didn't build up anything. And during that, that's when he throws the guy out the window. Is from, again, the Frank Zagarino film. Again, the guy from the Project Shadow Chaser movies, called Never Say Die from '94. And they finally, he gets that launcher that you see on this cover. He shoots, cuts to maybe footage from another movie. And then that's when the chief comes in. The chief's like, blah, blah, blah. You need to go see the psychiatrist. You're suspended. Talks with her for a few minutes. Goes with his partner. These bad guys are motorcycles. And that's what I'm doing. I'm noticing the editing just seems terrible. Like, there's Mark Perry with a shotgun. Then it cuts to, there's an explosion. But it's like, it didn't feel like they were in the same geography. Because they weren't. Because literally, there's a scene where Michael Perry shoots, and it cuts to these SWAT-like guys. And a guy flies back from a shot. That's from the J.F.A. Eric Roberts film Freefall. And if you don't believe me, if you ever do see this film, then go watch the trailer, the Freefall. Just watch the trailer. And that was in, 94 or so. Again, this was 97. And there are times where he's shooting and then stuff's exploding, but I don't know what he exploded. That's what I mean. It's a patch job. It's a very bad patch job. And it's awkward, and I guess you could just not worry about any of that and just watch explosions, but there's a shitload of movies you could do that with that didn't just steal from like 5 or so movies to just cobble together action. Anyway. And again, the partner gets shot, and they're ready to jump, and they're close, and it cuts to a shot from Freefall, where they're jumping down, and then cut back to our movie, where they're now close at the end. Like, this one talking about the editing. I'm going to jump to the end. This is a bit weird. The Michael Perry's going into this. This is not the very end, but close to the end. He goes into this warehouse. Always gotta be a warehouse. And the guy says to the boss, Maniac has blown up the warehouse. Now, before he said that, the bad guy's looking at a picture of Michael Perry. It's a face picture. Like, imagine the full picture is this, and it's Michael Perry's face going, right? Like, it's a full picture. You see the top, the bottom. It's like a full, like, this. Face picture. When he turns it around to show the other guy, is it this guy at the warehouse? It's a full body picture. Like there's the head, and then there's the rest of his body. So when he's looking at one direction, the whole picture's a face. When he turns around, it's now a body picture. I'm like, come on, dude. Are we kidding? What is going on here? And it's the director of Cyborg Cop 3 and Octopus 2. Wow, what great crowning achievements. Like, just don't show the fucking picture then. Like, you can't even get the picture right, dude. A face turn around and it's a body. Full body. Oh my God, man. I don't notice this type of stuff. Believe it or not, I don't notice these kind of weird inconsistencies. But this movie didn't even try. Didn't even try. Like, go watch Bad Blood with Lorenzo Lamas. That's fun. Like I said, go watch all those films like Jeff Wincott and Gary Daniels and other stuff I mentioned. Was a Cold Frontier with Gary Daniels? I think that's what it's called. I mean, I don't think of Steel Frontier. No, thinking what, Cold Harvest with Gary Daniels? I think Steel Frontier is with Joe Lara for American Cyborg Steel Warrior. Steel Frontier is actually a decent one with a lot of action. And I think Cold Harvest is the one with Gary Daniels I'm thinking of, and that one I liked as well. But anyway, there's tons of others other than this. I did with Michael Paré just to watch Into the Sun with him and Anthony Michael Hall. I mean, that one uses, a lot of times fighter plane footage is used from other movies because they don't have the budget for it. But this is what I'm also getting at. Other than those action that is stole from other movies, at least like Into the Sun, I enjoy the banter between Michael Paré and Anthony Michael Hall. It was interesting to see Anthony Michael Hall at that point do something a bit different. Just at least for me, I had only known him from Breakfast Club and Weird Science. And I think him and Michael Paré have some nice banter back and forth with each other. And, Anthony Michael Hall playing an actor, trying to look into a part for a movie. It's kind of an interesting story. And idea. This story, banter, characters, not really anything to talk about. And again, the middle 30-some minutes are very boring. Except they throw a car chase that the director took from his Cyborg Cop 3 movie. And that's wantedly edited too, because there's a bit where the bad guy crashes following our lead. And then it cuts to him, and the car flipped and exploded, and I don't know why it flipped, I don't know why it exploded. Like, he made it out, landed fine, cut the Michael Paré, they cut the guy, and he just flipped and exploded for some reason. I'm guessing it was shit that was in Cyborg Cop 3 that they had to cut out because I guess it didn't fit their scene, and so now it looks wantedly edited. And like the locations are nothing much. A couple warehouses, maybe even the same warehouse for all I know, in the middle of nowhere, unless it's stuff they stole from other movies. Story wise, like I said, not much to talk about. Unless you want to get Michael Paré, try to be dramatic, and I think he's a decent actor, but this didn't help. Daddy, and it seemed more laughable than anything. Just a very boring, lackluster investigation angle in the middle. There's nothing else to really make it worth the shit. Unless you're a diehard Michael Paré fan. I mean, this ain't worth much. Go watch American Ninja 1 and 2. Hard Justice with Davey Bradley. American Ninja 1 and 2, Michael Dudikoff and Steve James. And, again, all the other films I mentioned. So. That's Merchant of Death. Which is funny, if you find one poster, that's not the one we're going to use over here, but there's one poster that's like programmed to kill or built by human and controlled by computers or something that has nothing to do with the fucking movie. I almost wish it may have been a more interesting movie, but it's not. So, it's not this poster, but there's one of the posters that has like a weird tagline that has nothing to do with the movie. So yeah, it's a patch job. Pretty much they got Michael Paré to do a couple things, and he does do a couple action, a couple shooting. There's one bit where he runs, and there's an explosion behind him, and he jumps down, and he runs. So, that bit was him, in the same frame. But for the most part, the action, like I said, is stolen from other movies. It's a bad editing job. You could tell where the geography is all over the place. Again, like when you can't get a simple fucking photo of here's a face, you flip it out. Oh, now it's the full body. And I'm like, dude, if you can't get something as simple as that, right? What the fuck are you doing? And that's not the very end, but it's like there's the end action scene, and then there's the action scene before. It's the action scene before that happened. Anyway, with that said, thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you guys later. Bye bye.